Hi everyone, it's Fitz with the Tuesday Walk and Talk following the Chris Kleiman and football player press conference. Beautiful day here in Manhattan. I don't need the quarter zip anymore, but I did this morning. Just a really relaxed, feel-good press conference. The guys coming off that big win. You know, my big question to almost everyone was getting refocused on Texas Tech and trying to put that OU game behind them. And as Coach Kleiman said, and this is a good way to put it, it's like you play 12 one-game seasons. Everything's self-contained. Play so bad against Tulane, beat Oklahoma. But I think this team's in a good position. I think they now realize that they can't let up off the gas like they did against Tulane. And, you know, Adrian Martinez called himself out. You know, everyone kind of deserved to be called out, but he did mention that he let his team down in his post-game interview. Then came in today and took the questions. I asked a hard-hitting question of him when the 9 a.m. bow merchandise will be ready. He said he's a little more focused on Texas Tech. Seemed like a good answer. So if someone wants to design that for him, he'd appreciate it. I think of Cody, that's for you. I'm just going to talk about general stuff here. This is such a likable bunch of guys. This is really amazing. Fans are lucky that they have these guys representing their school, their alma mater, and hopefully they can keep it together, because if they can, they've got a setup now where they can start making a little run. You know, they got Tech here on that field right behind me on Saturday. They go to Iowa State, have an off week and go to TCU. Those are 3 winnable games. Iowa State will be huge. It'll be a defining game, but you can't peek ahead at all. You got to take care of a Tech team that just beat Texas. This conference is hyper competitive from top to bottom. We know that in the Big 12. Pretty confident that the national media, some will spin it as the conference is weak because everyone's beating everyone. But you can look at the non-conference and realize that's not what's going on here. This conference is really, really good. And there's just no off weeks. Tech and Kansas were picked 9th and 10th in the conference. Both 1-0 in conference play, and they both look like pretty good football teams. So there's no messing around. It's going to be interesting to see who floats or sinks to the bottom of these standings by season's end, because someone's got to finish last, and I bet you it'll be an uncomfortable moment for a program when they're in that bottom spot. Maybe it'll be KU, but folks, I think they're really pretty good. Big game on Saturday. I know some people are miffed that it's 11 a.m. It's what Chris Kleiman wanted. His team's record's pretty good at 11 a.m. He wants to get them out there and get them to work, and then they'll have some extra rest time on Saturday night after not having much at all. They got back to the Veneer Complex right here outside of it, 2:45 a.m. and mad shout out to Frank Trace and that band for being here, the players, and Coach Kleiman talked about how cool it was. Another topic today that came up quite a bit was the strobe effect, and I'm going to have a daily delivery on how Oklahoma used its PA system and lighting system in what I think are irregular and inappropriate ways during that game, which I feel more comfortable talking about since K-State won. You know, the referee came over to mention to Chris Kleiman that they're trying to get the PA announcer to not step on game action, which he was, which he can't do. And, you know, it was interesting. Chris Kleiman said, don't worry about it. We're just playing, and if you egg them on, it'll get worse. So he was conscious of that. Just focus on what you can control, and he did that. This is a season that has taken some interesting turns. I came in so optimistic and then saw just a dreadful performance against Tulane, and now they're back reset at 3-1. And if they can get to 5-1 at the turn, at that midpoint season into their off week, they're sitting pretty good. They're sitting in a really good situation to maybe make a run at getting to Arlington for the Big 12 title game. But then they do have that string of really tough games with Baylor, Oklahoma State, and Texas in the second half of the season. It's all out there in front of this team. They hit the reset button. They got a huge win. Unfortunately, the game is on ESPN Plus this weekend, so the national audience probably will miss it. I don't think people are quite yet used to turning to streaming as options for viewing, but it'll get there. Cats and Red Raiders, 11 a.m. Saturday, right here behind me. Hope you can make it to the Bill. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day today. and it's a beautiful day to be a Wildcat. That's it for this walk and talk, or stand and preach, whatever this was. We'll have Kobe Savage as our interview on the pregame podcast this week, and I hope you enjoyed our double postgame podcast as we made a better situation out of a bad situation, not being able to talk to Brian Hanley on Sunday. Friday walkthrough. Guys, gals, we got so much content coming at GoPowercat.com. Make sure you're subscribing.